which we used for single page applications or progressive web apps. Angular is developed and maintained by Google. Okay. Now, next we also understand what is the difference between React and Angular and which one is better. Finally, we concluded that we are going with Angular. And difference between library and framework. Library is React is library, which is a pre-written code. Libraries are used for one purpose or some specific purposes. But frameworks are used for multi things. Frameworks gives you complete architecture. For C Sharp people, .NET is a framework. Using .NET, you will do the same C Sharp code only, but it will give you one structure. For Python people, you will use Django. Django is also same. Okay, Django is also same. So that you will use same Python only, but it will give you one architecture. Right or not? Then next, we have discussed something called installations. We discussed something like installations. First, we discussed what is npm and how to we installed it. Okay, why we need npm? Because to install any package or uninstall any package, first we need one package manager. The package manager is npm. To install npm, you need to install node.js because npm is part of the node.js now. So you have to write npm install -g. First, you have to install the npm. After that, you have to write npm install -g @angular/cli, which will install Angular. Once the Angular is installed, you will check it whether it is installed correctly or not by command called ng-v, so that it will come version. We are using the Angular version of 18th, which is the latest version. Now, next, Angular uses, if you remember, I think you all remember this, that to start the Angular, we use it like ng new app and all. To run the Angular, we use ng serve-o. To build the Angular, we use ng build. That means everything we are using command prompt only, na? Right or not? So using command prompt only, you are creating the app, building the app, or even if you wanted any other thing also, you will use command prompt only. This technique is called scaffolding. What is called? Scaffolding. Then next, how to start a new Angular application. ng space new space app name space dash dash standalone equals to false. And here we have different folder structure. I explained you what is what each one, but you have to remember few things. One is component. Inside the src, inside the app, you will have 4 files, which is for component, app component. Component css file for styling, component html file for view or structure, component ts file for logic or component, or spec.ts for the testing. If you want to run the file, ng serve-o. If you want to build the file, ng build. Any doubts in these things? Any doubts in these things, ma? No. These are the things we discussed in the initial class. Next class, I told you first Angular application, how do we did? I did. The same procedure applied for all. Okay. Now, second, we discussed something called data binding. Let me explain it one more time. In every component, there will be one HTML file and also called template file. There will be one TS file also called component file. Now, data binding means transferring the data between template and component. Transferring the data between template and component. There are two types of data binding. One-way data binding and two-way data binding. What does it mean by that? Imagine one component is there. Inside this component, one HTML. Imagine one component is there. Inside this component, one HTML file will be there. And one JavaScript file will be there. Now, there will be a communication between this HTML and JavaScript. not JavaScript, TypeScript. TypeScript sends data to TypeScript sends data to HTML. TypeScript sends data to HTML using string interpolation, using string interpolation, or you can even use property binding. You can use string interpolation or property binding. Okay. If you want to send the data from, if you want to send the data from, if you want to send the data from HTML to TypeScript, you will use something called event binding. Okay. And how do you do this? All of this we did one application. If you want to do string interpolation, sir, you will put double braces. If you want to do property binding, sir, you will put square brackets. If you want to do event binding, sir, you will put parenthesis. What you will put? Parenthesis. Okay. That is all one-way data binding. But what about two-way data binding? Two-way data binding builds communication between template and components. It builds communication between template and component. It builds communication between template and components. It builds the communication between template and component at a time using a directive. What are directives we will discuss, don't worry. Using a directive called ng model. Using a directive called ng model. To use ng model, you have to import to use ng model, you have to import forms module in main module file. Because here everything is not standalone, you have to import these things in the forms module. In standalone times, only the components will take these things. I hope everyone understands this data binding thing. Okay. We'll do one more to get in a better idea. We'll do some real-time application and then we'll move forward. Does anyone created any link? Does anyone created? Very good. Online also, if anyone have any link, show it to me. I will do it. I will open it up. Online, if anyone have any link also, you can show it to me, ma. Let me open it up. Did everyone completed writing? Okay. Now, let's start. Give me the link, ma. Huh? Problems? Huh? No, browser doesn't understand TypeScript. That's why the TypeScript will be converted into JavaScript.